Hello friends, welcome to our channel. Today we are discussing about Aibe 2021 official key for set B. Okay, now the first question is A contracts with B to construct a cold storage facility for the rupees 50 lakhs within 6 months. Then after the expiry of the time period, B fails to perform the contract. A immediately hires C, the other person, to complete the construction at 60 lakhs. Later, files suit against B claiming 10 lakhs as the additional cost incurred. Here the option is option number C. A can recover the 10 lakhs because B breached the contract. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ బి అనే అతను ఫెయిల్ అయిపోయారనమాట. ఎందుకు? కాంట్రాక్ట్ని సరిగా వితిన్ టైంలో వితిన్ 6 మంత్స్లో కంప్లీట్ చేయలేకపోయారు కాబట్టి బ్రీచ్ అయ్యాడు. ఆ 6 మంత్స్లో చేయలేకపోయారు. ఇంకొక కాంట్రాక్ట్ తీసుకుంటే సికి ఇస్తేనేమో సి 10 లక్షల ఎక్స్ట్రా అడిగారు కాబట్టి ఏ కెన్ రికవర్ బికాస్ బి బ్రీచ్ ద కాంట్రాక్ట్. And hence, next second question, section 233 of the Indian Companies Act 2013 deals with fast track merger. What is the time duration and the concerned authority for the approval? Option number A, the time duration is 60 to 90 days and the authority for the fast track merger is the regional director under the Companies Act. And the third question is B. Ramesh Jobs' contract with Miss XYZ bars him joining any rivalry software firm in India for a period of 3 years of post resignation. But after resignation within 3 years, the Ramesh and the person Mr. XYZ joins the competitor company. XYZ filed a suit to enforce the restrictive clause. Whether it is a valid condition which was put under Indian Contract Act, whether it comes valid or invalid. Here, under the Indian Contract Act, an agreement which restrains the occupation or something else that becomes void. Here the option number C, void, it restrains the lawful profession for employment ends. And the fourth question is under section 105 of Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023, what is now a mandatory requirement for the process of search and seizure conducted by the police officer? A. Acquisition of a signed written confession from the occupant of the premises. B. Documentation of entire search and seizure via audio, video, electronic means. Option B is correct. అండర్ బిఎన్ఎస్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి ఫ్రెండ్స్, అండర్ బిఎన్ఎస్ వచ్చేసి మనకి ఈ కొత్త క్రిమినల్ చట్టాల్లో ఒకటి టైం బౌండ్ పీరియడ్ ఒకటి మెన్షన్ చేశారు. అంటే ఇంత సమయం లోపలే చేయాలి అనేది. నెక్స్ట్ వచ్చేసి ఈ ఎవిడెన్స్, ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ ఎవిడెన్స్కి మనకి పెద్దపేట వేశారని చెప్పుకోవచ్చు. Next question, read the following sentence statements and choose the correct option. Under Copyright Act 1957, Statement 1, in the case of posthumous literary work, okay, copyright subsists for 60 years from the beginning of the calendar year next following the year in which the work is first published. Okay. Second statement, for such works, publication refers to making the work available to the public by use of copies or by communication to the public. Here, both the statements are true. Okay, option number C is correct. Under the Guardians and Wards Act 1890, sorry, what condition applies for appointing a guardian for a married female minor? A, a husband must be declared legally incompetent. B. The husband must consent to such appointment. C. Parents must apply jointly for such appointment. D. The husband must be considered unfit by the court. Okay, option number D is correct. The husband must be considered unfit by the court. Next, question number 7. Under the Constitution of India, consider the following statements in the context of constitutional amendments. Okay. Number 1, judicial review extends to constitutional amendments, right? Number 2, laws inserted in the ninth schedule after 24th April 1973. This date was very, very important because on that particular date, the Keshwanandi Bharati case, the landmark judgment of the Indian judiciary, was delivered. Remains open to scrutiny for violation of basic structure. This one is correct. This one is correct. And the third one is Parliament's amending power under Article 368 is unlimited, not unlimited. Here, option number 1 and 2 are correct because statement number 1 and 2 correct. Option number C. Okay, next one. Which of the following included in the central government's power under section 3 clause 2 subclass 2 of the Environmental Protection Acts subsection 2 of subsection 2 Environment Protection Act 1986, which was this was a direct question. Here the option is option number D, planning and execution of a nationwide program for the prevention, control and abatement of the environmental pollution. Next, question number 9. A state government plans to acquire 50 acres of the scheduled tribes area land for an industrial park. As per the applicable law, the following steps are proposed: preliminary notification, social impact assessment, Grama Sabha consultation, consent for final notification. Okay, which of the following statements is correct? First, final notification, preliminary notification, final notification, Grama Sabha. Option number D, social impact assessment and Grama Sabha consultation are mandatory for acquiring the scheduled tribes land. Acquisition cannot proceed without the consent. Okay. Option number D is correct. Next, under Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, what is the minimum term of imprisonment prescribed for giving or taking the dowry? This one is direct question. Option number D, not less than 5 years. Okay. 11th one, a magistrate of the second class passes a sentence of 1 month imprisonment. Okay. The accused wants to appeal based on the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, which of the following is true? An appeal lies only if the fine was also imposed. B. An appeal is maintainable in this specific instance. C. The accused is entitled to file an appeal before the Court of Session. D. The accused may prefer an appeal directly to the High Court. Here in this instant case, option number C is correct. The accused is entitled to file an appeal before the Court of Session. Next, 12th one. A executes a document in favor of B stating, I hereby sell my house to B for rupees 5 lakhs. If I repay the amount within 3 years, B shall transfer the property to me. Otherwise, the sale become absolute. This condition is included in such document. A fails to repay within 3 years. B claims absolute ownership. Examine the correct legal position under the Transfer of Property Act 1982. Okay. Option A, it is mortgage by conditional sale. B must seek the foreclosure through court. I think it is a lease, it is a mortgage. Okay, option A is correct. It is a mortgage by conditional sale. B must seek foreclosure through the court. Okay. 13th one. X takes a loan of rupees 10 lakhs from bank A. Y signs the contract as a surety, promising to pay the bank if X defaults. After 3 months, Bank A agrees to reduce the interest rate and extends the repayment period of 6 months without confirming why. ఓకే, షూరిటీకి తెలియకుండా రీపేమెంట్ పీరియడ్ ఏదైతే ఉందో బ్యాంక్ అనే వారు పెంచారు. సబ్సిక్వెంట్లీ ఎక్స్ డిఫాల్ట్స్ ద లోన్. Okay, which of the following statements correctly describes vice liability under the Indian Contract Act 1872? Here, I think vice liability is discharged. Okay, you can see the option number D. Y is partially discharged as from the liability because A's modification increased the risk of Y without his consent. Okay. సో వైకి తెలియకుండా పెంచారు కాబట్టి వైస్ లైబిలిటీ వాజ్ డిశ్చార్జ్డ్. నెక్స్ట్ 14th వన్. ద భారతీయ నాగరిక సురక్షా సంహిత 2023 వాజ్ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్డ్ ఏ స్పెసిఫిక్ టైమ్ ఫ్రేమ్ ఫర్ ద డెలివరీ ఆఫ్ ఏ జడ్జిమెంట్. ఇందాక చెప్పాను కదా ఫ్రెండ్స్, టైం పీరియడ్ అనేది బిఎన్ఎస్ఎస్లో ఫిక్స్ చేశారు. ఈ న్యూ క్రిమినల్ లాస్లో టైం పీరియడ్ అనేది ఫిక్స్ చేశారు మనకి. అదొకటి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. Here in this instant case, what was the time? A specific time frame for the delivery of a judgment after the conclusion of arguments. What is the time frame? Here option B is correct. Within 30 days. Within 30 days after the conclusion of arguments. It may extendable up to 45 days, not more than that. Okay. 15th one. In the following question, a statement is followed by two conclusions, conclusion 1 and conclusion 2. Statement was, the Bar Council of India derives its rule making power from section 49 clause 1 subclause section 49 subsection 1 of subsection C of the Advocates Act 1961, which authorizes it to frame the rules governing professional conduct and etiquette to be observed by the advocates. Rule 20 framed thereunder categorically bars an advocate from stipulating for or receiving any fee whose quantum is dependent upon the outcome of the litigation, or from entering into arrangement any arrangement to share its proceeds, litigation proceeds. Here, an advocate who contravenes this rule is liable to proceed under the section 35 of Advocates Act. Okay, this is the statement. Conclusion 1: an advocate may lawfully enter into an outcome linked fee arrangement as long as client's written consent is obtained. Okay, conclusion 2: advocates who violate the provision on contingency based fees may face disciplinary action under the Advocates Act 1961. Here in this instant case, I think option number A is correct. Only second conclusion is correct, not the first conclusion. Under Bharatiya Saksha Adhiniyam is not applicable in which case? Okay, BNS, not BNS, BSA is not applicable in which case? National Company Law Tribunal. National Company Law Tribunal, it applies. Okay, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal applies. Arbitral Tribunal, Company Law Tribunal. Okay, option number C is correct. Bharatiya Saksha Adhiniyam is not applied to arbitral tribunals. Okay. Under Section 167 of Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, default bail or statutory bail is a right of the accused if the investigation is not completed. This is a time bound period. It is a right of the accused if the investigation is not completed within 60 days or 90 days, contingent upon the maximum punishment prescribed for the offense. Option number D is correct. In which of the following cases did Lord Wright observe that the inculpable value of habeas corpus is that it enables the immediate determination of the applicant's freedom? This one is tricky question. The one who is well aware of the case laws can only answer this. Okay, here in this instant case, B is option B is correct. Okay, next question, 19th one: which of the following articles of the Constitution of India forms the primary legislative basis for the Parliament enacting Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981? Okay, this article is uh, option number C, 253. Here we can go through the big act of the Indian Constitution. We can easily find the answer. Under the provisions of section 362 of the Indian Penal Code, okay, 362, which of the following is not a mandatory legal requirement or ingredient to constitute the offense of abduction? Okay, this is also a one way. It is a direct question because the section number was given, the offense was given. We can directly go through the offense, we can read, and we can answer this. Okay, here option number B is correct. The person abducted must be a minor. He must be a minor or must not be a minor, that is not the requirement for abduction. Okay, next question. section 20. Okay. Question number 21. The five golden principles with respect to the circumstantial evidence were laid down in the Supreme Court by the Supreme Court in which judgment? Okay. This one also the person who read with or who read the case laws must answer. Here option number C is correct. Okay. Next question. Ajit Singh, a famous singer, enters into a contract with Yash Aditya Music Company, agreeing to perform exclusively for them for 2 years and not to perform any other company during that period. Okay. After 1 year, Ajit Singh refuses to perform for Yash Aditya Music Company and begins performing for B.R. Chopra and Company. Yash Aditya Music Company files a suit seeking an injunction restraining the Ajit Singh from performing for B.R. Chopra Company. Which of the following statements is correct under specific relief act? Okay. A. The court must compel the Ajit Singh to sing for Yash Aditya Music Company. Okay. B. An injunction may be granted to enforce the negative covenant. Okay. Option number B is correct. Next question number 23. Which of the following innovative penal measures has been officially incorporated into the sentencing framework under Section 4 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita? Okay. It is a easy question. Option number A is correct for question number 23. Community service. Okay. In accordance with the provisions of Code of Civil Procedure 1908, where a court, while examining the pleadings, finds certain averments to be unnecessary and capable of prejudicing or delaying the fair trial, the court in such case may strike out such pleadings at any stage of the proceedings. Option number A is correct. Next, during an India country X war, okay, country X, India and country X was war. India declares X as an enemy. A. An Indian citizen enters into a contract, supplies medicines to B, a citizen of X, via neutral intermediary and a bank. Which of the following is most accurate under the Indian Contract Act 1872? Okay. Trading with foreign allies or foreign enemy countries is void. Here in this instant case, what was the option was? Here in this instant case was also B. Option number B is correct. Void. The trading agreement was void because the trading with an enemy in war is prohibited and is against the public policy. Okay. Next, under section 35B of Code of Criminal Procedure 1908, where a party fails to take up a step required by the court on the date fixed by the court, the court may impose the costs. Okay, option number A is correct. Impose costs as a precondition for allowing the further prosecution. Okay. Under Uniform Civil Code rules, Uttarakhand. Okay, this one is out of syllabus, I think. Under Uniform Civil Code rules, Uttarakhand 2025, when is an application for declaration of legal heirs forwarded to the Registrar General. Here, for section 27, question 27, option B is correct. After 15 days of receipt, if the registrar does not take an action. Okay, 15 days. Under specific provisions, under which specific provisions of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023 has the definition of terrorist act has been formally integrated into India's general penal legislation for the first time. Terrorist Act, Section 113, option number B. Under Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, how many months from the date of marriage must dowry received before the trans marriage be transferred to the woman? Option number A, within 3 months. Next, question number 30, directions. The following question consists of two statements. One is liable and has assertion, and the other is reason. Okay. Assertion: income tax is levied on the total income of the person for the previous year. Okay. Reason: income tax earned during the previous year is accepted to the tax in the immediately succeeding assessment year under the Income Tax Act 1961. Okay. Here, see, both are true. Okay, option number C. A and both A, assertion A, and reason R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Okay. Here is the same assertion and reason. Section question number 31. The respondent was engaged as a Sophie Kamchari, a charitable trust. Okay. A dispute originated when he was terminated due to repeated absence from duty. The trust challenged the award on the ground that it was not an industry under Section 2 Clause J of the Industrial Disputes Act of 1947, and therefore the worker was not a workman under Section 25F applicable. Okay. The trust engaged in multifarious activities, including commercial ventures, and hired employees for commercial and charitable activities in an organized manner with proper remuneration. Okay, assertion and reason over. In the context of the above assertion and reason, under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947, which one of the following is correct? Okay. Option number A is correct. Both A, assertion A, and R, reason R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Okay. Which of the following options correctly states the composition of disciplinary committee of the Bar Council as prescribed under Section 1, subsection 1 of Section 9, subsection 1 of Advocates Act 1961. This is a direct question. Option number B is correct. Option B. 3 members, 2 elected from the council's membership, and 1 advocate possessing the prescribed qualification who is not a member of the council. Okay. Under the provisions of Code of Criminal Procedure 1908, where a decree is passed against multiple defendants, one of whom was not served with the summons and had no opportunity to contest test. Such defendant may seek. Okay. Option number C. By applying for setting aside the ex parte decree. Relief. Okay. Against that person only, he may apply for ex parte decree. Under the Indian Penal Code 1860, in which of the following scenarios does the right of private defense of the body extends to voluntary causing of death to the assailant? This one also a direct question. If we can observe the right of private defense sections, I think option A is correct. An assault committed with specific intention of kidnapping or abducting a person. As per Code of Civil Procedure 1908, where the plaintiff in a civil suit fails to pay the requisite court fee or postal charges for the service of summons within the time permitted by the court may stay the proceedings until the service is effected. Okay, option A is correct. Dismiss the suit. Okay, option C is correct, not option A. Dismiss the suit. The court may dismiss the suit. Under the scheme of the Constitution of India, once a proclamation under Article 352 is in operation, the Parliament may legislate on matters in the state list by virtue of. This is a direct question under Article 350. 250, sorry, under Article 250, the Parliament under uh, can legislate the matters of state legislature in case of state emergency. Next, question number 37. The term public interest litigation was first used by, very important, father is Justice P.N. Bhagavati for Pill. Maybe Krishna here. Yeah. Okay, friends. The term public interest litigation was first used by option number D. Option number D here. Professor Abram Chavez. Next, direction, assertion and reason. Assertion: the Constitution of India does not adopt a rigid separation of powers among the legislature, executive, and judiciary. Okay, this one is right. Reason: the constitutional framework incorporates a system of checks and balances. Okay, this one is also correct. Option number C. Both A and B, A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. Under the provisions of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, what is the current range of punishments available to the court for an offence of defamation? This one is also a direct question. Option number A is correct. Simple imprisonment, fine, both, or community service. 40. Which provision of Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 provides a summary legal remedy for the maintenance of spouse, children, and parents who are unable to support themselves? Section 125 of CRPC. Option number B. In case of Parmanand Kathara vs. Union of India 1989 is primarily associated with which of the following cases? Right to emergency medical care. Option number B. Option B. According to the provisions of Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023, an accused person intending to apply for plea bargaining must do within how many days from the date of framing the charges? Here, 50, 30 days. Within 30 days from the date of framing the charges, he can apply for plea bargaining, the accused person. Under the scheme of Code of Criminal Procedure 1908, where the proceedings are pending before a competent civil court and an application is made seeking the transfer of the case from one district to another district within the state, such transfer may be ordered by the High Court. Okay, option number B is correct. Option B is correct. Judicial intervention in arbitration proceedings is limited under Section 5 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1998, in which of the following situations the court may intervene: when the procedural irregularity is alleged without a specific provision under the Act. Option number Option C is correct, when the Act expressly permits such intervention. Which of the following statements is not true with respect to Section 65B of Indian Evidence Act? Hmm, Option B. In state of NCT, National Capital Territory of Delhi versus Navjot Singh, reported in AR 2005 Supreme Court cases 38 to 20, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the courts could admit the electronic records such printouts and compact disc CDs as a prima facie evidence without authentication. Not true. Okay, this one is different one. Question number 46. Under Rule 8 of the Standards of Professional Conduct and Etiquette framed by the Bar Council of India, an advocate is prohibited from appearing before any court, tribunal, or authority for or against an organization or institution of which he is a member of its subcommittee, general body, executive committee, advisory committee, not advisory committee, so eliminate that one. Executive committee is answer. Question number 47. Which of the following is not stated in section 63 clause 4 of Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam 2023 with regard to a certificate to verify the authenticity of electronic evidence? Qualification of an expert. Option A is correct. Information Technology Act 2000 distinguishes between civil liability and criminal liability in cases of misuse of computer resources. In which of the following situations would such conduct attract the criminal punishment rather than mere compensation? Option B is correct. When the act is done dishonestly or fraudulently in addition to an unauthorized access. In such cases, he will also attract the criminal punishment. A, aged about 80 years, execute a registered deed transferring a parcel of land to a trust with the conditions that the property shall be used forever for maintaining a public library and reading room for the residents of village X. However, if at any time the property ceases to be used for this purpose, it shall revert to my heirs. Further, the income from the property shall accumulate for 50 years before being used for expansion of the library. This one is under Transfer of Property Act. Which of the following statement is most accurate in law? Mm, The transfer is valid. Option B is correct. The transfer is valid as it falls within the exception of public benefit, but the accumulation clause is void to the extent it exceeds the statutory limits. If we can observe the Transfer of Property Act, the accumulation period is restricted to 14 years or something. But here in this instant case, that particular person aged about 80 years mentioned that the accumulation for 50 years. So that clause is void. The transfer is valid. Question number 50. What is the year did the mandatory pre-fitment of High Court scrutiny registration plates for all new vehicles come into effect under Motor Vehicles Act? Option B is correct, 2019. Sorry. Question number 51. In execution proceedings governed by the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, where property of the judgment debtor is attached and the third party raises a claim asserting independent title, such claim must be decided by instituting a separate civil suit. Okay. B requires prior determination by the court which passed the decree. Okay. C decided only after completion of the execution process. D shall be adjudicated by the executing court. Option D is correct. Shall be adjudicated by the executing court only. Whether a landowner who enters into joint development agreement with a builder, okay, contributing land in exchange of 50 percentage of the developed property and a monetary deposit can file a complaint under the Consumer Protection Act 2019 alleging the construction defects and delay. Which of the following statements is most accurate? Option B is correct. The landowner is not a consumer as the transaction constitutes a commercial joint venture. Question number 53. The Supreme Court of India in Harshit Chand Tiwari versus Baiju 2002, while considering the appropriate punishment for misappropriation of the client's money by an advocate, held that option B is correct. The misappropriation of client's money constitutes one of the gravest forms of professional misconduct and ordinarily warrants the removal of the advocate's name from the state role. Okay. Question number 54. According to Section 20 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, where the parties have not agreed on the place of arbitration, the arbitral tribunal shall determine it, having agreed to. Option A is correct. Circumstances of the case, including the convenience of the parties. Under Patent Acts 1970, a patent is granted to an inventor in India. Okay. Which of the following correctly reflects the limitation on the patentee's rights under law? A. Mm, Option C is correct. The government may use the invention for its own purpose without the consent of the patentee. Read the following statements. Okay, statement 1 or 2. Under Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Statement 1. The arbitral tribunal may rule on its own jurisdiction. Okay. Statement 2. A plea that tribunal lacks the jurisdiction shall be raised not later than the submission of the statement of defense, unless the arbitral tribunal permits a later plea. Here option E is correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are true. Regarding the offence of criminal conspiracy as defined under section 120A of Indian Penal Code 1860, which of the following statements is legally accurate? Okay, this one is exact question and direct question also. Here, mm, option B is correct. The mere agreement between the parties is sufficient to constitute the offence. What offence? To constitute the offence of criminal conspiracy if the intended crime is punishable with death or rigorous imprisonment. Pursuant to the definition provided in section 378 of Indian Penal Code, which of the following constitute the essential element of the offence of theft? ఒకటి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి ఫ్రెండ్స్, the essential element in the offence of theft is movable property only. Here option A is correct. The movement of movable property out of the person's possession without that person's consent is correct. Oh, 15. Under Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, specific provision provides the legal definition of bailable offence. Under BNSS section 2, clause C, subsection C అనుకుంటున్నా. Here under CRPC it is a direct question. Option number D is correct. Section 2 clause A. Statement conclusion. Okay, statement A is section 5 of Minimum Wages Act 1948 gives a detailed procedure for fixing or revising the minimum wages in respect of any scheduled employment. Okay, after considering the advice of the committees appointed and all representations received by it before the date notified in the Gazette notification. Okay, the appropriate government may by notification in the official gazette fix or revise the minimum rates of the wages. Okay. Conclusion 1. If the date is specified in the notification, the minimum rates shall come into force from such date. Conclusion 2. If no date is specified, then they shall come into force from the expiry of 3 months from the date of the issue of notification. 16. Option B is correct. Both conclusion 1 and conclusion 2 follows. Okay, case law. In which landmark case the case expanded the scope of Article 23 of the Indian Constitution? Option A. PUDR versus Union of India, which expanded the scope of Article 23 of Indian Constitution. Under the Special Marriage Act 1954, what is the maximum fine that may be imposed for printing or publishing a matter in contravention of the provisions relating to in camera proceedings? Okay, this one is also direct one. If we can find out that particular section which mandates the in camera proceedings under the Special Marriage Act 1954. Here, option B is correct. The fine up to 1000 rupees. The rules of natural justice were not confined to the narrow pursuits of the prevailing definition of quasi-judicial functions. This principle was laid down in which case? Option A, Ridge versus Baldwin, 1964. Under Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act, 1956, which is which situation makes the consent of the wife unnecessary for adoption. She A. She refuses to consent due to personal disagreement. She has ceded by the Hindu by conversion. She is living separately without legal separation. B. If she ceded to be a Hindu by conversion. Option B is correct. According to Section 56, Clause subsection 2 of Section X of Income Tax Act 1961, if an individual receives a sum of money without consideration from a person other than a relative and the amount exceeds the prescribed limit, what is the correct legal position? It is taxable. Option C is correct. It is taxable under the head of income from the other sources. Under the Constitution of India, question number 66, the Parliament enacts a legislation to implement India's obligation under an international agreement. Okay, the subjects ordinarily falls within state list, and no resolution under Article 252 has been passed. The source of Parliament's competence could be parliamentary competence. Okay, Article 253. Option D is correct. Under the constitutional jurisprudence in India, repeated repromulgation of ordinance without placing them before the legislature was described by the Supreme Court as a fraud on the Constitution in which decision? Option A, DC Vadha was a state of Bihar. Pronunciation mistakes only. Choose conference. Okay, question number 68. Which of the following is not included in the Industrial Relations Code 2020? 2020లో మనకి న్యూ ఇండస్ట్రియల్ లాస్ వచ్చినాయి. దానిలో ఏది ఇంక్లూడ్ కాలేదు అని అడుగుతున్నారు. ఆప్షన్ బి ఈస్ కరెక్ట్. ఇండస్ట్రియల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ అండ్ రెగ్యులేషన్ యాక్ట్, ఐబిఆర్డి. ఐడి డెవలప్మెంట్ యాక్ట్. ఓకే. Question number 69. Under the law relating to land acquisition under the relevant laws in India, which of the following statements is not true? All persons interested in the land in question shall appear personally before the collector. B. The collector shall publish the public notice on website. C. Such interested person may file objections uh, within 6 months. Okay. D. A minimum notice of 30 days is to be given to all the persons interested. Okay. Option A is correct. It is not true. All persons interested in the land in question shall appear personally before the character. Okay. 17. Question number. On which specific date did Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita 2023 officially came into force, replacing the Code of Criminal Procedure? 1st July 2024 is the right answer. Option A is right answer. This one is direct question. Easiest question. Next. Question number 71. In the context of the Constitution of India, a pension scheme differentiates between employees retiring before and after a specified cutoff date. Okay, 2004 అది. Those excluded challenge the classification as arbitrary. The constitutional issue would primarily attract Article 14 వచ్చింది ఇక్కడ. Option B is correct. Article 14 and the principles of classification. Administrative law is the law concerning the powers and procedures of administrative agencies, including especially the law governing the judicial review of the administration. This definition was given by K.C. Davis. Note down this type of questions, definitions. Next, statement conclusions. Question number 73. Allegations have been made by the minority shareholders that ABC promoters sold optionally convertible preferences shares and redeemable preferential shares to a trust controlled by ABC promoters at prices significantly below their fair market value, thereby causing financial loss to ABC and its shareholders. What is the recourse for minority shareholders under the law? Okay, conclusion 1. The minority shareholders can file for a class action under Section 245 of Indian Companies Act 2013, seeking the direction of National Company Law Tribunal to either reverse the sale of optionally convertible preferential shares and redeemable preferential shares or to compensate the minority shareholders. Conclusion 2. The aggrieved members may proceed individually to protect their rights against the acts of oppression or mismanagement under Section 241 of Indian Companies Act. Okay. Here in this instant case, option D, both conclusions true, one follows true. Next, assertion and reason. An ex parte decree may be set aside if the defendant satisfies the court that he was prevented by sufficient cause by appearing when the suit was called for hearing. Okay. Reason. Under Order 9 Rule 13 of Code of Criminal Procedure 1908, the court must satisfy that the summons was not duly served or that the defendant was prevented by sufficient cause from appearing when the suit was called. Okay, both are true. See, both are true. R is the correct explanation of A. Okay. As per the Consumer Protection Act 2019, what are the one-sided arrangements? One-sided arrangements. Unfair trade practices. This one is correct. Option B is correct. Question number 76. Under the Indian Christian Marriage Act 1872, between which hours Must a marriage generally be solemnized? As per Christian marriage, what is the time for performing the marriage? Option C is correct. Between 6 in the morning and 7 in the evening. Which of the following statements are correct with reference to withdrawal and abandonment of suits under the Code of Criminal Procedure 1908? 1. A plaintiff may withdraw or abandon a suit subject to the provisions of law. Correct. 2. Institution of a fresh suit on the same cause of action requires the prior permission of the court. Okay, correct. Withdrawal of a suit without the permission of the court to institute a fresh suit, pass the subsequent suit on the same cause of action. Correct. Fourth, the court may grant permission whenever such requisite is made. This one is not correct. Here option D is correct. 1, 2 and 3 options are correct. Statements are correct. Question number 78. A. An 18-year-old adult sound mind executes a written instrument in favor of B stating, I promise to pay B 70,000 rupees on 1st April next year. Okay, A is fully competent. A has signed that note and the instrument contains all the essential elements of promissory note. B sues A for the recovery after 1st April when A defaults. Examine the correct legal position. Promissory note is valid here. Okay, option D is correct. The promissory note is valid. A is liable to pay B. 79th question. The adoption of ombudsman type institution in India was first recommended by which of the following? Okay, ombudsman committee, ombudsman functioning are very much interested functions in banking and government sectors. Lupal Lupaita. Here the correct option is option D, Administrative Reforms Committee. Question number 80. Under the constitutional framework of India, the Supreme Court gradually relaxed the traditional rule of locus standi of IP bill, thereby following the public-spirited individual to approach the court for enforcement of the fundamental rights of others. The development is mostly closely associated with public interest litigation. But there is evaluation of public interest. Okay, option C is correct. Under the Information Technology Act 2000, the term electronic record includes which of the following? Data stored in digital form. Okay. 2. Image or sound stored or transmitted electronically. Okay. Information generated in microfilm, computer generated microfilm. Okay. Information recorded only on paper without electronic. No. Option C is correct. Both 1, 2, 3 statements are correct. Next, question number 82. An SSC pays a medical insurance premium for himself, okay, and his family, and claims a deduction while computing total income. What is the correct position under the Income Tax Act 1961? Option A is correct. The deduction is allowed subject to prescribed limits and conditions. Under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, forfeiture of property is listed as a punishment in which of the specific cases is this most commonly applied? Organized crime offenses involving simple act or minor physical injury, cases of rash or negligent driving, instances of minor petty theft. Mm, Organized crime, delete, because that was a big offense. Offenses involving simple act. Okay, big offense. Option A is correct. Organized crime. Sorry. Which provision of Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 stipulates that the police officer must produce a person arrested without a warrant before a magistrate within 24 hours? Section number 57 of Code of Criminal Procedure, which mandates the police officer who arrested the person must be produced before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours. Okay. Question number 85. Which of the following is not a document as per Bharatiya Saksha Avenue? Private papers. Document card. Okay. Option A is correct. Inscription. Okay, not correct. Uh, Question number 86. According to section 10, subsection 37 of Income Tax Act 1961, compensation is received by an individual on compulsory acquisition of agricultural land which had been used for agricultural purpose by him prior to acquisition. What is the correct legal position? Mm, Option D is correct. It is exempt, subjected to fulfillment of prescribed conditions. Okay. Mm, Section, sorry, question number 87. Under the Code of Criminal Procedure, where a suit is instituted against a person who is substantially found to have been wrongly pleaded as a defendant, the court may direct the plaintiff to institute a fresh suit to dismiss the suit. Mhm. Option C is correct. Permit substitution or addition of the proper defendant. Not under Code of Criminal Procedure, it is under Code of Civil Procedure. Sorry. Question number 88. Under the scheme of distribution of legislative powers in the Constitution of India, a subject which is not enumerated either in the state list or in the concurrent list falls within the residuary filled by legislation. Such residuary powers are vested with state legislatures, President of India, Parliament. Option C is correct. Residuary powers are listed or residuary powers are vested with the Parliament of India. Next one, statement. Ossification test is final test to analyze the bone fusion for estimating the age of the juvenile as per law. Okay. Statement 2. Statutory documents like birth certificate will be given procedure to determine the juvenile. Option D is correct. Only option D is correct. Only statement 2 is correct. According to section 25 clause B of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, where the respondent fails to submit his statement of defense without sufficient cause, the arbitral tribunal shall continue the proceedings without treating such failure as an admission. Option A is correct. Okay. Question number 91. Under Parsi marriage, out of syllabus. Under Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act, 1936, for what duration can maintenance be awarded? Option D is correct for a term not exceeding the life of the plaintiff. Question number 92. Which of the following does not fall under the framework of presumption under Section 2 of Bharatiya Saksha Adhiniyam? Unassailable proof. Option D is correct. According to Section Code, according to Code of Criminal Procedure 1908, where a suit has abated due to failure to bring the legal representatives on record within the prescribed time, the court may set aside such abatement if the plaintiff shows. mm, Option C is correct. Sufficient cause for not making the application within time. Sufficient cause చూపించాలి. Question number 94. A mandatory PUC certificate is provided under which section and rule? A mandatory PUC certificate is provided under Section 90, Clause Subsection 2 of Motor Vehicles Act 1988 and Rules 115 and 116 of Central Motor Vehicles Rules 1989. Next, question number 95. Under Article 143 of the Indian Constitution, the President may seek the opinion of the Supreme Court on a question of law or a question of fact of public importance. The opinion rendered by the court in such reference is generally regarded as enforceable, not about advisory in nature, not strictly binding. Option D is correct. Next, what do you mean by onus prabandhi? Onus prabandhi means the burden of proof. Option C is correct, which places the responsibility on the party making an affirmative claim to substantiate with evidence. Onus prabandhi means burden of proof. Next, assertion and reason. Assertion right to privacy has been judicially recognized as an integral part under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Right. Reason. Privacy is expressly enumerated as a separate fundamental right. No. A is true, B is false. Option B is correct. Okay. In Roman jurisprudence, the concept similar to the rule of law referred as option number B, jus naturale. JUS, jus naturale. Naturale. Okay. Question number 99. Which of the following statements is not an example of eggshell skull rule as per law of torts? Hmm. ఇక్కడ another. Okay, అంటే option C is correct. Okay. Under section 1 section next one, question number 100, the last one. Under section 173 of Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhitra, if a police officer in charge determines that an investigation is not warranted because the case lacks the sufficient gravity, they are legally obligated to notify the informant of this decision within 14 days. Okay, friends, thank you for watching. Please support our channel. Thank you.